Hola mi gente, welcome back to Anewyoricanthing Kitchen. Today's exciting. We're going to be making adobo chicken, yummy yummy, and some coconut rice, also yummy yummy. And when you make this for your family, they might kiss you. So how do we start? So I started with chicken thighs, which I already cleaned, and I did slice the top of them to get the flavor in there. Now the best thing you can do when you're making your adobo chicken is to kind of let it season it and put it in the fridge and let it set overnight or for a couple of hours or even an hour. But we're going to do it right now because we're not going to save an hour, okay? Now I keep the skin on, but that's up to you. You can take the skin off. I happen to have an air fry oven, so I'm going to be using the air fry feature. If you do not have that, obviously if you have an air fryer, put it in the air fryer, fantastic. If you don't, then I cook it at 375 on bake. Okay, so let's start. So I am using just actually avocado oil, but you can use any kind of oil you want. So I'm just going to pour that over my chicken. Okay, and then this is my homemade adobo. If you need the recipe, I do have it on my YouTube channel. So you can check out how to make your homemade adobo. So all you want to do is just sprinkle a generous amount of your homemade adobo. And because my homemade adobo is low in salt, I do add a little bit, but that's up to you. It depends on how, you know. So I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit on top. And then I also like to add lemon. Now I happen to have a lemon. If you do not have a lemon, don't have to have it. If you have lemon juice, works just as good. So I'm just going to squeeze in this lemon that I just happen to have. Normally I don't, but I have it. So we might as well use it. Or else I would just use lemon juice. 2 or 3 squirts, that's all you need. It just adds an extra zest to the chicken, which is always really delicious. And then you're just going to mix it up. Now, if you feel at this point when you mix it up and you need to add more adobo, by all means, you sprinkle more adobo. It's really up to you. So what I like to do is actually I mix it up, and you usually let it marinate for an hour or overnight is even better. So you're just gonna mix that all up. You're gonna put that in whatever you're baking it in. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add more adobo to this and on the top of it, and then I'm gonna just put it in the oven. So you can use any chicken parts you want. It's up to you. Thighs, I find, are just more moist. So I like to use the thighs. And I definitely like the skin because when you air fry, as you know, it is, gets the skin nice and crispy, which is what we want. Don't use a small pan, you want it to have space. I'm gonna wash my hands and I'm definitely gonna add more adobo on the top of this before I pop it in the oven. Now, if you haven't made this recipe of homemade adobo, please go and make it. Thank you. All right, we're gonna pop this in the oven, and then we're going to move on to the most exciting thing ever, the coconut rice. I promise you, it is so delicious. Yeah, my son almost wanted to smack me that day when I made it. So let's put this in the oven and move on. My chicken is in the oven for about 45 minutes. In the meantime, we are going to make coconut rice, which I'm super excited about. Okay, so what do we need? We need 2 cups of jasmine rice, and what you're going to do is rinse this rice, which I'll show you how to do that. You're going to need 1.5 tablespoons of sugar, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1 cup of cream of coconut. Not coconut milk, guys, but cream of coconut. Doesn't matter what brand you buy, doesn't matter at all. So first things first, what are we gonna do? Let's go on over to the stove. We want to put our flame on medium-high heat. I have an electric stove, so I have it on a 6 right now. So I'm going to add my 1 cup of cream of coconut. Okay. Then we're going to add our sugar, which is 1.5 tablespoons of sugar. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And while this is, I like to kind of melt that first, and then I add my rice. So we got all that. So I'm gonna let that kind of dissolve in here. In the meantime, we can rinse our rice. Again, guys, remember, this is jasmine rice that we're using, not regular rice. You're gonna wanna rinse your rice until it runs clear. So I'm just gonna rinse this rice until it runs clear, which sometimes it kind of has like a hazy film down at the bottom. So what you wanna do is just run the rice through there. Okay, and I'm gonna let that kind of just sit here for a minute. Then we're going to add to that 2 cups of water. I'm going to add 2 cups of water. This. And what I want to do is basically just let the cream of coconut, because it is chunky, okay, and the sugar and salt kind of dissolve a little bit, and then you add the rice. Now typically when we make rice, I always say to everyone, wait till it boils, don't touch it. In this instance, we're going to do it a little bit different. We actually wait for it to boil, cover it, and not play with it. Okay, usually it's like the other way, like when we make Spanish rice, we wait for it to absorb, mix it, cover it, don't look at it, I always tell people. But in this case, it's a little bit different. Then what you want to do is take your rinsed jasmine rice and you're going to add it to this. Okay. And then just mix it in a little bit. Now when this comes to a boil, we're going to reduce the heat and cover. What are we going to do with this? We're not going to waste it because we don't want to waste anything, okay? We're going to make a little drinky drink while that's cooking. So you're gonna add a squirt of some lime juice. Now you can add rum, vodka, tequila, whatever floats your boat. So we're gonna do vodka, and then my son, the cameraman, I guess he could sip on this. Now if you really want to get fancy, you can rim your cup with some coconut, which is really amazing. That'd be very tropical. I mean, it is summertime. Rice, okay, so I basically have it on the low heat like I told you, 15 minutes. We're gonna stir it up, cover it, and just, you're going to cook it until the rice is soft, which it probably is already, to be honest. Oh my god, it's so good. Okay, now, just so you know, footnote, this rice is not as soft as white rice. It does have a little bit of crunch to it, which adds to the character of the rice, if that makes sense. It's really delicious. It's almost ready. So we're gonna let that cover it for another 15 minutes and it should be ready. In the meantime though, my chicken has actually been cooking for about 45 minutes. So again, this is on the air fry. Look at that crunchy skin. How perfect is that, guys? See the lemon juice and the oil, it's so good. So I'm gonna say this is ready. So we're just gonna wait for our rice to be ready in about 15 more minutes, and then we're gonna have our chicken with the rice. Delicious. Okay guys, coconut rice and adobo chicken. Fantastic. Let's try it. My new favorite. Coconut rice is everything. Adobo chicken, everything. My adobo chicken. Don't forget your coconut drink that I told you how to make. Thanks for joining me on Anewyoricanthing Kitchen, and I hope to see you soon. Bye guys.